Hey everyone, this is Ben back with you in the Midwest Model Shop. Thank you to everyone who's liked and subscribed to this channel recently and checked out the Titanic build from my client. It was delivered, he's super happy with it. Hope you enjoyed that. Thank you to all my Patreon subscribers. I really do appreciate you guys and gals. And we are continuing on the Duchess of Kingston. That build is happening over there on Patreon. So today is really, even though this is video 4 for the USS Enterprise CV-6 in World War II, it's really the first build video, right? So this is going to be the hull part 1. I was hoping to just kind of have it all done, but it's going to take a while, and I wanted to get a video out, and I wanted to explain what was kind of happening. So a shorter film, but cool stuff happening. I'm going to repeat myself, you'll see right away, but I've decided I'm going to do November 1942. That's the time frame of the build I've settled on. I think that will utilize most of the aftermarket parts and coincide with the configuration of the guns and things like that that are provided for the ship. And yeah, so I'm going to need folks' help as far as like accuracy and things like that goes. The ship changed so much month to month during the war that, you know, there's arguments. People go back and forth. And I'm not a rivet counter, but I want to try to represent something, and I like to have a direction. I like to, you know, let's just focus on this one time slot, then I can pick and choose from there. We're going to do measure 11 because of that. I don't think it was measure 21 yet. That was something that started, but the Enterprise was still measure 11 during November of 42. So we're going to stick with that. Lastly, there is another product promotion during this video. You guys will see it later on. Talk all about it. Descriptions in the link down below. I just want to say real quick that this product I've been using for the last month and a half. I wanted it completely and properly vetted. It's a very simple thing, and it works exactly like it's supposed to, but actually I think a little bit better. And so I don't have a problem suggesting everyone go ahead and check it out. So anyway, you'll see that in the video. That's it. Yeah, once again, thanks to the Patreon folks. Thanks to everybody who likes and subscribes. We will finish my Titanic. I just need a bit of a break, and I need to switch gears here. So we're going to build the Enterprise, and yeah, it's really cool. Let's get into the build. Okay, so we're back on deck here. We have the Enterprise hull out. We have our Pontos detail set information. We have our KA stuff, and we have my reference book by David Doyle over here. So what I want to do today, next couple of days, is sort out the basics of the hull. I've made a decision, and I'm going to need everyone's help with this, but I'm going to try and model the ship around November 1942. That should give me the accuracy for the air wings, you know, not having the red dot in the middle of the meatball anymore. On the fantail of the ship, it's narrowed out. We don't have to leave it the full width, but we haven't had the major refit to the hull down here. So I think that will enable me to utilize most of the photo etch and aftermarket detail stuff that we've gotten, but not, and still remain fairly accurate. And I think also I want to do measure 11, I believe is going to be the correct color for that time period. I'll double check that. But yeah. So let's take a look at the hull here and some of the things we want to change. Okay, so the first thing, you've got these two, I don't know what these are here. Maybe they're on the Hornet. The instructions for Pontos tell you to get rid of them. And the reference photos that I have, definitely this is not present on the starboard side, and I'm pretty sure it's not present either on the port side. So I'm going to opt to get rid of these. I know Kenneth has kept them on his, and that's fine. Obviously, same deal on Kenneth's ship right here. These portholes are all elongated, and that's because of the way the mold is made. The mold, you know, these are two halves, right? And the ship comes together, the mold halves go like this and come straight out at a 90-degree angle. And these portholes would be great if they were actually meant for viewing straight out a 90-degree angle, but they actually are perpendicular to the angle of the deck. And I know some of you are like, Ben, that doesn't make any sense. They're not meant for looking outside. It's a warship, okay? And if you go to the USS Midway down there in San Diego, you can go up in the forecastle and you can look out straight down at the water because that's what they point at. So my plan is I'm going to shave off these little brows all along here, and I'm going to use the KA detail set. They've got photo etch to go right over these, and I'm hoping that if I get rid of the brow, the photo etch will cover the elongated part and I'll have a nice round circle. These, I'm not planning on cutting these out. I'm going to fill them in. I just want them to be black. Let's see here. We've got, under the hull, we've got a couple of, just a seam line, your basic things that need to be cleaned up. Make sure I am zoomed out all the way here so you guys can see. We'll clean up this seam. We'll cut out this little doorway here because there's some photo etch of things that go inside there. The hull is smooth, and in reference photos there are a few hull plating lines. So I haven't totally decided how I'm going to address that, but at a minimum we'll be marking them and scoring the lines, I think. Yeah, so the other thing I want to talk about, let's look at the bow here. And when I first looked at the ship, I thought, this is not pointy enough right here. But after reviewing some photos, I've decided actually it is. It's got this taper just right. The bulbous part down here is a little shallow. I'd like to see it just be a little bit larger. Not a lot, just a little bit. So what I'm going to do is add some styrene sheet to this area here, a few thin layers, just to build up a little bit of thickness, and then I'll sand it down and shape it into the hull, just so we get just a little bit more, a little more prominent right there. It doesn't need a lot based on what I'm seeing. So then, same thing over here on our port side. This is going to come off. We also have the degaussing wires that go along here, and I have the kit gives you just a big huge thick piece of wire, which is no good. There's very thin photo etch detail provided by by KA, but it's too thin. And then KA provides, or do I got that backwards? I do, I have it backwards. KA provides very scale thin wire. Pontos provides you the nice thicker stuff. Kenneth's talked about it. It's the right shape. What I don't like about it though is that it's still flat. And I'm wondering if I can't use, it's going to be a lot of work, but if I can't use stretch sprue to get the actual right shape. I think that might work. I know I'm asking for some abuse there, but it's so prominent in some of the photographs of being kind of big and round and everything that I think it might be worth doing. The other thing I might do also, I'm thinking I'll put a little scalloping, some hull dishing in here. It brand new out of the gate, there was some hull dishing. You could see it in photographs of the ship. Mostly, I was thinking about adding just a little bit of subtle dishing along the waterline. We'll get to that too. So now that I've talked through all of that, let me go ahead and I'll cut some of these things off, get our photo etch going, and we'll install this rudder stuff and everything down here. I was a little bummed there's no stand for this. I might have to strap a piece of foam to the bottom so it's sitting up off the deck a little bit once we get it painted. And yeah, so we'll do those things and I'll get back to you. All right, real quick update on what's going on here. I've gone ahead and trimmed off this little area and threw a piece of styrene on there on both sides just so that it looks nice. And then keels are installed, and then way downrange there we've got our just the rudder and your little parts of the ship and everything like that you need. They look really nice. So what we're doing now though is I'm working on my bulbous hull, bulbous bow type arrangement. And you know, I only wanted to bring it out a little bit, and I'm sure I could have just slapped some Bondo on here and then sanded it, but I guess because of my Duchess of Kingston wooden ship build, I'm in this like building up planking layer area arrangement. So I just wanted you to see, I'm just putting some thin pieces of styrene down, and then I'm putting some over the top. This will allow me to sand it. I am going to probably cover it in some automotive Bondo or putty. But what's happening here is you can see it's gotten significantly wider. And by putting these strips down like this, you can see the shape is coming into play. And so when I look down on it, it gets a little wider, and then it swings in like I want. And this is the view. This little extra width right here is that bump that I'm seeing in my photographs that's kind of missing. It's subtle. See that? It's not a lot. It's just a little bit. It's just a little bit of correction. And I feel like it's worth the time. It's pretty enjoyable. So all I'm doing, like I said, I just built up kind of a little layer, right? And then I'm just putting my strips, stay focused here, putting my strips down on top of it to get my shape. I'll come back with some putty over all of this. I'll sand it, and it'll be fine. All right, pressing on. Okay, back in action. We got to do a little updating here. So I've gone ahead and put styrene strips on the ship, and they're not perfect, but I did the best I could to make them look level, going all the way across, which is how the ship was made. These are 0.010 millimeter thick, or 0.01 thick, which is still a little bit too thick ultimately there. There's a little bit, you can see that ridge. So I need to thin those out. I've also, let's see, you can see here, I've got my little holes. I got to drill those out. They're pre-drilled through on the back side there. I'm trying to get my focus here to work for you. See that? So I can drill through on the other side. Get the portholes put back, and then we've got our bulbous hull here. The bow isn't finished, but I've got this all kind of worked out. So what I need to do now is, and this is an experiment. I hope that and there's probably a faster, easier way to do this, but when I'm done, I'm hoping to have a little bit of a lip, and because the hull plating does go out, in, out, in, out, in, and it does start level off of right here as the first one out, and then alternates down. You can see my spacing's off a little bit down here, but I don't care. I think the effect is going to look right. I hope. Now, I could have just scribed the line, and that would have been simple. I also could have just masked this off, put some primer down, and that would have easily given me the thickness that I wanted. But I'm looking for a slightly crisper line, and I think I might still want to try and do a little hull dishing. So it's nice to just have all the material be the same. I'm going to have to go ahead and drill out these little portholes again. I'll do that with my little, I've got this little drill here. It doesn't have a lot of torque, and the battery dies fairly fast, which is no big deal because right here next to the desk I've got this handy dandy little power strip. And that actually leads into our little representative. They're not sponsoring the video, but my promo item I wanted to talk to you about. I was sent this for free. This is the, I think it's pronounced Lead Chung power strip. I was contacted by this company, and they asked me if I wanted one, and I'd be willing to, share it and talk about it in the video. And I said yes, I would, because ironically, I needed a power strip. I mean, the timing couldn't have been more perfect. These things are available on eBay, or I'm sorry, on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description down below. They're a little bit pricey. This unit I think is like $20, $20 USD. And I know what you're saying, like, Ben, it's just a power strip, like, who cares? Well, here's the thing about it. It has a super ultra flat plug that you can use on like your kind of useless outlets that are pressed up against something, that has a nice flat cord. Obviously 3 outlets to plug into, I've got my two USB-A Type A's and a USB Type C, which I'm super happy about. And the big extra item on here is it's a surge protector, has a built-in surge protector. Now, the surge protector, it's not like super heavy duty, it's only 600 joules, but that's better than nothing. And I don't know if you've ever had little problems with electricity before, but that could be a big deal when you have your battery plugged in for your cameras, or you've got your cell phone plugged in. But for me, this is a big deal because I've got it set up. I can come right to the right here and plug in. I want to show you a couple of other neat features here real quick. So here's the plug, and as you can see holding my hand, it is super flat, super low profile. It's grounded 3-prong, and the cord lays nice and flat. So you can plug this into one of those crazy outlets that's, you really can't have a plug coming straight out of, and push whatever your furniture is and equipment right up next to it, and you're good to go. The default cable is 5 feet long. I asked for the 10-foot one because I have to go a little bit farther, so that's really nice. But then it's got one other really unique feature. See this little gray thing right here? I could slide it down, and here I could go ahead and run my screws in and pop it up. So now I don't have screws coming out of the side. I don't have this weird mounting thing, and I can get it all the way flush up under my table bottom, just like you see right here, and it's nice and easy to install. Here's another picture of it on the front of the box. That's what's going on. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to call it the Lichong multifunction power socket. It's available on Amazon. I'll put a link down below. This one, like I said, was $20 USD. Obviously a little bit more than your average power strip, but I think this is perfect for what I need. And I'm trying to share with you guys things that are useful, just like the BenQ lamp, which we use around here all the time. Yes, it was very expensive, but it does the job extremely well, and it does it better, just a little bit better than everything else. Having the USB Type C, my USB A's, good power out here, easily accessible, the flat cord. For the extra money, it does exactly what I need, and it's good, and I'm not irritated by it. I didn't have to struggle, and to me, that's value added. So anyway, these are that's the little video promo sponsor here for this video. All right, so next thing I'm going to do here to kind of wrap things up, like I said, is get all of this. I'm going to take it outside and sand it down, work on the bow a little bit, and I'm going to see about getting some primer on it. Then we'll worry about the portholes and our degaussing lines later. All right, pressing on. Okay, here we are back at it. This is the end of round 1. So what I have done is sanded all of the styrene that we placed on the ship earlier, and then it has just a couple of coats of gray primer on it, and as you can see, this is the result. So what do I think? Well, first of all, as careful as I was, and I have the light hitting this to highlight the edge here, I think that it's too thick still, unfortunately, despite my efforts to make it not too thick. There it is. I mean, I don't want to lose those lines, but I feel like it's still a little thick. I mean, I could put some horizontal lines in for the plates, but I think it's still just a little bit too pronounced. Now, up here at the front, though, in my little bulbous hull area here, bulbous bow, I am very pleased with the general shape. It just, there's some dents and it needs some filler and things like that. But let me reposition the ship here. If we look at the ship head on, you can see, I feel like that's skinny enough, and then we have just ever so slight increase. I'm trying to show this head on. Slight increase in the width right here, right? So we're concaved, and we come out just a little bit. If I lift it up, you can see that it flares out just a little bit. I mean, it's real subtle. I mean, if I turn it to the side there, does that look a lot better? Maybe you get the idea, right? It's just a little bit. Now, this also is highlighting that these are still too proud. I wanted this to kind of come to nothing. You can totally see the lines in photographs, but I just think that right now it's still too thick. Let's take a quick look at the stern area. All right, on the back of the ship, if we look at head on here, I'm going to move things. Not too bad, right? I mean, it's still pretty pronounced, but I had better luck getting it a lot thinner. The issue kind of is when you sand, there's a tendency to roll over the edges. Let's see if I can move this here. I know it wants to focus on my hand. It wants to roll the edges over and kind of be more curved, and you still have this hump. So I use a sanding block to try and remove, from the middle to reduce that thickness, but I think we're getting pretty close, actually. I'm pretty pleased with this area in the back. And then, if we can sight down the hull here, it's actually not too bad downrange there, right? I mean, it is easier to sand, but then when you go this way, the in and out tends to be a little proud, and you're starting to look like a different ship. So this is still a little, it's still a little bit too much here, I think, is what's happening. But generally speaking, I'm pleased. I think we're off to a really good start. I like that it's styrene, and I like that there's hull modulation here. It's not flat and smooth anymore. The original hull at a distance looks flat and smooth, but when you get up close, you can tell there's plates. So right now, backed up, you are viewing this from about 2 feet away or half a meter. It's starting to work, right? I think we're getting into the right direction of things here. So that's going to conclude part 1 of the hull. I want to try and get a video up for everyone here so you have something to see. Please feel free to comment down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me know what you think of this. So the plan between now and the next episode, I'll come back to you probably. We got to smooth out all of this business. I'm going to probably work on sanding this down a little bit more, focusing on just the raised panel, because I've already put a layer of paint in between that's brought that up. So, between sanding down the outside and bringing up the middle, we'll probably get to a point where things look just about right, and we've struck kind of a balance. And when that happens, after that, I'll go ahead and I'll put like our little portholes on, and then actually I'll probably put the portholes on. I'll probably save that for when the hull's done, put the portholes on, and then we'll address the degaussing lines. That's going to be the next episode. I've got that ordered up from my local hobby shop. So anyway, that's it. I think I'm pleased. I'm excited. This should be a pretty fun build. Let me know what you guys think, and yeah, be safe out there. We'll see you next time.